Welcome to Reverse Mortgage Radio, hosted by Legend's very own reverse mortgage professor, Bruce Simmons. You have so many options with a reverse mortgage, everyone has a different opinion, and the government keeps changing the rules. You need to hear from the first certified reverse mortgage professional in Colorado to specialize exclusively in reverse mortgages, one of few in the state with the letters CRMP after his name. Bruce has the specific training and education you need to understand what you're buying. Now, here's your host, Bruce Simmons.
Hello, and welcome to a very spooky edition of Reverse Mortgage Radio. I'm your host, Bruce Simmons, your friendly neighborhood reverse mortgage specialist, helping folks across Colorado take the scare out of retirement finances, right? It is Halloween week, and I'm sorry, I should have probably done this last week's show because that was before Halloween. Now it's after Halloween. I hope you had a lot of good little ghosts and goblins and princesses and spacemen and all that stuff show up at your door. I noticed fewer and fewer trick-or-treaters coming by my house. It seems like I'm wondering if all the trunk or treat at things that kids can do. They get lots of candy at these events where cities or neighborhoods have the cars decorated and they come up to the cars during daylight and with their parents and get a bunch of candy. I think that probably puts a damper on it. Kids don't need to do trick-or-treating in the dark anymore like the way they used to when we were kids. But anyways, it is Halloween week, and I thought I'd have a little fun and tackle the fright that's been haunting homeowners for years. It's called reverse mortgages. Right? For some people, the word reverse mortgages brings chills down their spine. They've heard the scary stories. Oh, you'll lose your house. The bank takes your house, or the kids get nothing, all these things. But just like old ghost stories around the campfire, those tales are myths, not monsters. So tonight, I'm going to take you through the 5 biggest fears people have about reverse mortgages and show you the truth behind each one. By the end of the show, I promise you'll see there's nothing spooky about securing your retirement peace of mind, right? And reverse mortgages can be a huge part of that if you choose to do that. Before we get there, though, like I said, I always like to explain kind of the basics of how reverse mortgages work, but you can also call me with any questions. My name is Bruce Simmons. My number is 303-513-2748. That's my cell phone number, 303-513-2748. Give me a call with any questions about reverse mortgages. You can also visit me online at reversemortgageradio.net. reversemortgageradio.net is my website, and on there is all kinds of good information, video testimonials. There's the consumer guide that's on there as well. You can get a free quote on whether or not a reverse mortgage might make sense for your situation. But what a reverse mortgage is, in a nutshell, it's a FHA-insured loan, and it's specifically designed for people that are 62 and over. It allows you to convert a portion of the value of your home into money that you can spend however you want. Most people will take part of the funds at least and pay off an existing mortgage. Now, if you do not have a mortgage on your home, because I've had people say, well, I don't have a mortgage to reverse. That's the term that one of my friends uses in my Kiwanis Club. He always says, I don't have a mortgage to reverse. You don't have to use a reverse mortgage to pay off an existing loan on your home. If you have an existing loan on your home, that loan has to be paid off with the funds from the reverse mortgage. But if you own your home free and clear, you're in even a better position to benefit from a reverse mortgage because you're not taking a huge chunk of money to pay off that loan. You've got all the money that's available to you from the reverse mortgage, which is not the full value of your home, okay? We do not loan 100% of the value. We don't loan 70% or 60%. Most people receive somewhere between 34% of the value to about 50% roughly, maybe a little more if you're on the older side. Generally speaking, the older you are, the more money you can access as a part of the value of your home. The lower the interest rate, the more money you can access. And interest rates have been coming down a little bit, which is great news for everyone looking into a reverse mortgage. But in a nutshell, like I said, reverse mortgages are specifically for people 62 and over that allow you to convert part of the value of your home into money that you can spend. As long as you live in the home, you occupy it as your primary residence, in other words, you pay your property taxes, pay your homeowner's insurance, maintain the home, and keep your name on title, you never, ever, ever have to make a mortgage payment. The house is still yours, so you do have to continue to pay your own property taxes and insurance and do those things I just mentioned. That's why you have to do those, because it's still your house. That's one thing we're going to talk about today, is one of the scary things about reverse mortgages, right? But you do those things and no payments due. You live there for as long as you want. The loan only comes due when the last homeowner permanently leaves the home. Then your heirs inherit the home. They have choices as to what they can do, depending on how much equity is left in your home. All of that stuff are the scary part, because people don't understand how it works. But I don't want to ruin my show. So let's get into it. If you have any questions, please call me. Again, my number is 303-513-2748. But the number one fear is kind of what we were talking about. People do not understand how reverse mortgages work. Now, you're one of the smart ones. You're listening to this show, trying to gain knowledge about how it works. You have an open mind, which is great. I get a number of referrals. It's amazing how many people refer me who listen to the show I've never talked to, but they say, hey, you should listen to this guy, or you should call this guy about your situation, because people are struggling or they just could live a better lifestyle with a reverse mortgage. And so their neighbor tells them, or their brother or sister tell them, you need to give Bruce Simmons a call. Call him at this number at 303-513-2748, and he'll explain it to you, because you've got an open mind. You're listening to the show. So you probably understand some of the basics, but a lot of people don't. And that's the most common fear, and it's totally understandable. Reverse mortgages can sound complicated. And when we don't understand something, our imagination fills in the blanks. So what I want to do is turn on the lights and clear out the cobwebs, all right? Keeping the theme going here. Reverse mortgages are simply a loan, just like any other mortgage. But instead of making payments to the bank, the bank pays you. Now, it's out of your equity. It's your own equity they're paying you with, but it's a way to convert the value of your home into cash, okay? It's your own equity you've built up in your home. You can get that money in a number of different ways, okay? You can take it as a lump sum. There's certain restrictions in the first year for that, but you can take it as a lump sum. There's monthly payments. That's where people say, the bank pays you instead of you paying the bank. You can also set up a line of credit, and there are so many benefits. I've talked a lot about this in the past, because the line of credit will grow over time. You could do a combination. Most people do some form of a combination. But here's the key. You are still the homeowner. You still pay your own property taxes, insurance, keep it maintained, all that stuff, and it stays in your name. You do not have to make any mortgage payments, but you can choose to make payments if you want to. Okay, that's the other thing people don't understand. It's a payment optional program. The loan only comes due when the last homeowner permanently leaves. Okay, you could sell at any time. There's no prepayment penalty. But at that point, when the home is sold, that's when the loan gets paid off. And any remaining equity goes to you or your heirs or the estate. That's it. There's no secret tricks, no fine print or what. Well, there's a lot of fine print. I mean, our packages are huge. It's not, I shouldn't say fine print. It's readable. But that's all a result of either lawsuits or legislation. I tell people, I'm with the Department of Redundancy Department. We tell you things 2 and 3 and 4 different ways and different times. We'll tell you the same thing over and over in these forms. But basically, I tell clients it's like converting your home from a locked treasure chest into a turnkey safe. You're unlocking a portion of what's already yours safely, securely, and on your terms. You decide how you take the money out. You decide if you even want to pay it back. Okay? So that's the number one fear, is just not understanding it. The number two fear has been around a long, long time. I'm going to lose my house. You're going to take all the equity in the house, or you're going to. A lot of people think that they don't even own the house anymore if they do a reverse mortgage. That's still. I've been battling this for 22 years, but it's been haunting people for decades. Okay, the belief that if you get a reverse mortgage, the bank's going to take your house. It's still out there. That's I would love to put that one in a coffin and bury it once and for all. When you take out a reverse mortgage, your name stays on title. You continue to own the home. The bank does not own it. The bank just has a loan against your house, just like any other loan you have right now. The only requirements are that you live in the home, like I said, you pay as your primary residence, you pay your taxes and insurance, maintain the home, and keep your name on title. Okay, you do those things, you could live there for as long as you want. The loan technically, I say that with air quotes, technically becomes due and payable on the youngest homeowner's 150th birthday. So if you plan to live a long life, maybe you'll get called due. But if you hit 150 years old, I would refuse to leave. I would say, no way, bank. I'm not, or lender, I am not leaving this house. You come and get me and let them try it. It ain't going to happen. There's no way they would kick you out of the house. But, a lot of people live beyond 100 years old these days. A lot of people don't live beyond 100 years old in their home. That's the key thing. Now, I did do a loan for a customer that was 99, and she called me. She was still in her house at 100, but that's probably rare. So I help a lot of people throughout Colorado, throughout the Denver metro area, Pueblo, even Trinidad, all the way up to Fort Collins, Greeley, and beyond. But a lot of people are terrified that they're going to lose their home if they get a reverse mortgage. They're dealing with rising expenses like crazy, taxes and insurance and all these expenses that just continue to go up. And but once most people learn the facts, they go through with it. And I stay in touch with a lot of my customers years later, and they're still in the same home, living comfortably, very happily without a mortgage payment. So don't let the ghost of misinformation scare you away. You can stay in your home for as long as you live, as long as you do those things I mentioned, But the reverse mortgage just gives you breathing room while you do it. That's the key thing. Excuse me. So, number 3, the fear is that I'm not going to leave anything for my kids. That's one of the huge fears people have. Well, all I have is my house to leave for my kids. The truth is, honestly, most people, they'll hear me on the radio, adult children sometimes will hear me, or they'll find me online, and they call me and they say, hey, my mom really needs to do this reverse mortgage. She doesn't understand it. She's afraid of it. Can you help me? Help us get through to her that this is the best thing for her to do. So many people think that it's adult children putting the kibosh on the parents getting a reverse mortgage. The parent really wants it, and the kids say, no, you can't use up all my equity. It's actually the opposite. Adult children will call me, and they want their parents, they know this will help their mom or their dad or both. It'll help them, but the parents are afraid to do it because they won't leave anything for their kids. And the kids are like, Mom, it doesn't matter. We want you to live in the home comfortably. And sometimes even family members, adult children are helping to pay the parents' bills. And it's a relief for the kids because the parents now have money to pay their own bills. So a lot of times people just think that the kids are against it, and that's not the case most of the time. I could count in 20 plus years on one hand the number of times kids have really not wanted the parent to do it when it was the best thing for the parent. Okay. But thing is to keep in mind too, is that the loan only comes due when the last homeowner permanently leaves. The heirs inherit the home. They then typically will sell the home for whatever the value of it is. They pay off the reverse mortgage and they keep the equity. However, a valid concern, because the way the reverse mortgage works is you're still charged interest on the loan, right? Every month you're charged interest because there's no such thing as something for nothing. So you're charged interest every month. You don't pay it out of your pocket, but it gets added to your loan balance. Your loan balance gets larger and larger and larger over time. You got to be okay with that. If you're not okay with that, don't do the reverse mortgage. And if you're not sure, we'll sit down. I show you how the loan balance gets larger over time. I break down all the closing costs. I'd be happy to meet with you. You just give me a call. My name is Bruce Simmons. I'm the reverse mortgage manager for American Liberty Mortgage here in Denver. You can reach me at 303-513-2748. That's my cell phone number, 303-513-2748. Give me a call. Visit me online at reversemortgageradio.net. I'd be happy to talk with you about how the loan works, meet with you, show you the numbers so you know how it works. Some people will look at that amortization schedule and say, that's going to cause me stress. This loan is designed to relieve financial stress, not create it. If knowing that your loan balance is getting bigger and bigger and bigger is going to cause you stress, don't do the loan. And some people decide not to do it. And then they'll call me back a year, 2, 3, 4 down the road and say, you know what? Now I think is a good time for me to do the loan. I've had people say, well, I'm going to put off doing the loan now because I don't really need to do it right now. But I know that if I wait 2, 3 years down the road, there'll just be 2 or 3 years less that the property, that the interest is accumulating. Now, on the flip side of that, and this goes to the line of credit, if you have money in a line of credit that, hey, you've got 2 or 3 years of that line of credit growth that you're missing out on. Also, you've got 2 or 3 years of shelling out $1,000 or $2,000 or more on your mortgage payment that you wouldn't have otherwise. So it's a double-edged sword either way you look at it. But let's say the value of the home the loan balance exceeds the value of the home when you pass away. So your home's worth $500,000 now, you get a loan for $200,000. There's a major housing recession 15 years down the road when you pass away. Your heirs inherit the home. You owe $500,000 on the reverse mortgage now because the loan balance has grown over time, but your house is only worth $450,000. Your heirs inherit the house. They do not have to pay the loan off. Now, they could just sign the house over to the lender and walk away. That's the reason there's mortgage insurance on the loan. The mortgage insurance pays the difference to the lender so the lender doesn't lose any money. Since the lender is not losing money, they're not going to come after your estate or your heirs for the difference. It's called non-recourse. Okay, this means you or your heirs can never owe more than the house is worth. Okay, if the house sells for more than the loan balance, which is what happens most of the time, the heirs keep the extra money. If it sells for less or it's worth less, they could just sign it over to the lender and walk away. In other words, your family, your estate, your heirs are protected. The home itself is the only repayment source. No one's coming after your savings or your estate. And there's something most people don't realize is that many heirs end up with more money than is expected because the property value is going to go up. Most of the time, that's the trend. If you happen to pass away in 2008 when property values are down, or like right now even, it's kind of difficult to sell houses right now. Maybe your heirs won't get quite as much as they thought, but a lot of times they get more than what they think too, okay? So this kids lose everything story, it's pure folklore. The truth is that reverse mortgages can actually protect your family's legacy. Other assets, because you're not making mortgage payments. You can save more money. You're not drawing as much from your portfolio. There's all kinds of things that you live a better life. They have more memories of you being happy instead of stressed out financially. You can take trips with the family, now because you can afford it, because you don't have a mortgage payment or whatever the case may be. Okay, so that's number 3. Fear number 4. Getting a reverse mortgage means I failed financially. This is not as common as it used to be because reverse mortgages have gotten a little bit better reputation now. They're not as quite as scary as they used to be. The reason I'm doing this show is because people still are afraid of them. But this whole idea of that you failed financially if you have to do a reverse mortgage, it goes back to the idea that reverse mortgages are only for desperate people. And that's not the case at all. That is just flat out wrong. Using the equity in your home is not a sign of failure. It's actually a sign of wisdom. For decades, especially if you remember your grandparents talking about the Great Depression. You got to pay off your mortgage, never touch it again. Times have changed. Costs are higher. Markets fluctuate, and we're living longer than ever, right? People are living to be 85, 90, 95 years old or more. Your home is probably one of, if not the largest asset you own. You can either let it sit there and gather dust or put it to work for you. Now, odds are, even though you're using some of the equity, the value is going to go up. So it's not like you're spending money from your portfolio, and now that portfolio can't grow because you're taking money out. The asset, your house, is still growing in value. But I've helped financially savvy clients use a reverse mortgage to delay Social Security, preserve investment portfolios like I just mentioned, or just increase their emergency reserves. Having that peace of mind is huge for people. They pay off their mortgage, save $1,100, $1,500 a month or whatever in principal and interest, and then they might have $50,000 or $80,000 or even just $10,000 or $15,000 left over as an emergency fund. That's just huge peace of mind for people. So it's this loan is for people who've planned carefully, not desperate people. They're strategic. People who do this are doing it strategic. I'm not desperate. I'm going to do this. I can't wait to do it. But it's just time to bury the shame and see reverse mortgage for what it is. It's a tool, and just like any good tool, it's most powerful when it's used wisely. Okay, let's go to fear number 5 now. It sounds too good to be true. I remember I've probably heard that, 100 times over the years. The reverse mortgages sound too good to be true. When it sounds too good to be true, it is, right? Well, not always. Most of the time, probably, but not always. No monthly mortgage payments, right? You can stay in your home for life. FHA insurance protects the other assets. It does kind of sound like a Halloween trick, right? To get back to our theme. But it's not. The home equity conversion mortgage, the HECM, that's the name of the FHA-insured reverse mortgage program. That's been around since 1989. It's regulated by HUD, insured by FHA. HUD is the Housing and Urban Development. That's the big umbrella. FHA is underneath HUD. That's the Federal Housing Administration. But every borrower has to complete independent counseling before they can even apply. I had one person say, well, if I have to talk to a reverse mortgage counselor, that must mean there's something tricky about this. No. It's to make sure that you understand everything before you sign. Okay, you sit down with a HUD-approved counselor whose only job is to make sure you understand the program and your responsibilities as far as paying the taxes and insurance and all that. There's no loop. This is not a loophole or a get-rich-quick scheme. Okay, it's not that. It's a carefully designed program that helps older homeowners safely tap into their home equity without giving up their home ownership. Okay, I don't know how many times I could say it, but it is good. It's a very good program, and it's also true. It's helped thousands of people right here in Colorado live more comfortably. I've probably over the years, I think I've helped well over 1,000 people, 1,200 people, families in Colorado, mostly in Colorado. I've done some other states too, but the bottom line is let's get to it, okay? Because I want to do a quick recap before we blow out the candle on this week's spooky episode, okay? So, number 1 fear, lack of understanding. You just don't understand how it works. Well, hopefully after listening to this show, you have a little bit of understanding, the basics. It's simple, though. It's a federally insured loan that pays you instead of you paying it. Or it can eliminate your mortgage payment. Or it can make payments to you or just give you the peace of mind. Fear number 2 is that you're going to lose your house. False. You remain the owner of the home as long as you meet those basic obligations of your property, paying your taxes and insurance and maintaining the home. Okay. You'll leave nothing for your kids. That's wrong again, too. Odds are, it's possible there might not be any equity left in your home. It's a slight possibility because, like I said, we're not loaning 70 or 80% of the value. We're loaning 30, 40, 50% of the value. Okay, so you're not taking out a huge chunk of money up front. Okay, But the reverse mortgage protects your heirs. It doesn't burden them. It protects the other assets that they own as well, or that you own that they'll inherit. Okay. Fear number 4. It means I failed financially. No. This is not, we're done with that. That's put to bed. This is a strategic plan. It's a tool that smart people use for financial planning. Okay. And then number 5, it's too good to be true. This is not magic. It's math. It's backed by the U.S. government for over 30 years. It's a very secure program that's been around a long time that's helped. Well, nationwide, we've helped 1.2 or 1.3 million people over the last 30 years doing this. And it should be 10 times that, in all honesty. This loan is just, the reason I do this show is to help put to bed a lot of these fears, a lot of these misunderstandings, and try to make this loan program a little more mainstream. As an industry, we close somewhere between 30 to 50,000 loans a year. It should be 300 to 500,000 or more, 10, 20 times more than what we do. Because the people who can benefit from it are not open to it. And that's, again, why I do this show, because there's just so many people that really should be looking at this, but they don't because they're afraid. They don't understand how it works, all these things, and I want to put all that stuff to bed. So basically, this Halloween season, and I know we're heading into the holiday season now, but don't let fear keep you from exploring the truth. There's nothing hiding in the shadows. It's just opportunity waiting to be discovered. If you'd like to learn more, okay, please call me. Feel free to call me. I'm not going to try to talk you into anything. I want to give you the facts so you can make an informed decision on your own. I'll meet with family. Just earlier this week, I met with a lady and her daughter-in-law and to go over all the things, to make sure I like it when you've got people. If you're 80 years old and you've got, even if you don't have family, but if you do have family, that's great. I'll meet with them. But if you've got a neighbor that understands finances, or your financial advisor, your CPA, I love explaining this program to people who get it. Once they get it, they're like zealots about it. This is a great program, now that they understand the facts. So call me with questions at 303-513-2748. 303-513-2748. My name is Bruce Simmons. I'm the reverse mortgage manager with American Liberty Mortgage right here in Denver, and I'd love to talk with you about your specific situation. Find out if it makes sense for you. Maybe you don't qualify now. Maybe you owe too much money on your house and we can't loan you enough to pay off your existing mortgage. But at least if you learn the facts, like I tell everybody, okay, you don't qualify today, but you might tomorrow. By tomorrow, I mean next year, 2, 3, 4 years down the road. I talk to people who aren't 62 yet because they're planning for when they are old enough to get the reverse mortgage. But I'll be happy to walk through your situation and let you know if it makes sense for you, and give you the information. You need to make your own decision as well. Visit me online as well at reversemortgageradio.net, reversemortgageradio.net, or just call me at 303-513-2748. I'm Bruce Simmons, and you've been listening to Reverse Mortgage Radio, where we turn financial fright into financial freedom. Hope you had a safe Halloween and a happy Halloween, and remember, don't be afraid of reverse mortgages. Hope you have a great day. Thanks.
Call Bruce Simmons today. Ask about his free Colorado Consumer Guide, 303-467-7821, or reversemortgageradio.net. Bruce will come to you anywhere across the Front Range to make sure you understand how reverse mortgages work. Regulated by DORA, NMLS number 409914. American Liberty Mortgage is an equal housing lender.